Mollie, so thank you so much for taking the time to jump on here again. I'm going through your book now. Phenomenal. I'm so excited for the formal release. Everything there. It's incredible. Everybody that's behind you. Joel writing the forward. That's great. Your work and your story is amazing. And one thing I want to commend you on is the honesty. Like the you put it all out there. And that is not something that you see very often with people. They want to hide behind whether it's a past or decision they've made or whatever. And it's like you own it all. So I kind of want to start there. Like why are you so willing to be you and own it all, good, bad, and different?
Well, the thing is that honesty cuts through the bullshit like a knife. And so I'm sorry to swear, but you ever heard someone tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? And it cut through everything else. And so the concept of my book is essentially that nature is conservative. And I don't mean nature is like pro Donald Trump or MAGA exactly like that. What I mean is that there's some fundamental values that God has entrenched in everything that we have abandoned as humans. And so only through, so I could say this in theory, but that's not going to touch people as much as if I can tell you how I came to these conclusions in my own life. And so that's what I do in the book. And I dismantle all of the modern hypotheses about everything from gender to formula to sleeping with your baby in the other room, sleep training, all these different things. I basically just prove no other mammal is operating the way that we're operating. And yes, we have a connection to God and we have this consciousness that we've been blessed with, but that doesn't mean we need to abandon when we look out at nature and we see God's perfect design. For example, all mammals prioritize reproduction, water, food, and some prioritize shelter. Not all mammals need shelter, but we're really good at shelter, but we've abandoned our water, we've abandoned reproduction, and we've abandoned our food largely. And that's not in self preservation. That is not normal. And, you can look at in nature, there's all different kinds of ways that people interact, like sexually, so to speak. There's variation, but there's never anybody abandoning their nature. So I use an example of this cow, Camila, that I have, and she has big horns and she runs stuff and she's the protector of the herd. If there's no bull in the pasture. She eats first. She runs stuff. And she stays far away from the bull at all times, not interested in him. But when she comes into estrus, when she comes into heat, every year she gives us a calf. She breeds with him. She takes great care of the calf. She nurses the calf. So even though she has traits that we might view as masculine or as the protector, as the herd, coordinate all those things, she never abandons who she is. And we've started to abandon who we are, the nature of who we are. And that is happening all over our lives. And so I basically just take one construct after another that we've been told, whether it's socialism or why capitalism is bad or anything. And I basically prove that all of them are against nature. And if they're against nature, then they're against God, because nature is an expression of God's perfect design. And that's the concept of my book, Debunked by Nature. I was a liberal. I believed these things deeply. And by standing in nature, I recognized that we were not in alignment with God. And I shifted my way of being.
I think that's beautiful. That's a great litmus test. Is like, is it in line with nature or is it not? I think that's a very easy way to evaluate. about everything. Because for me, health is as big of a deal, if not bigger, than the fact that I own a grocery store, a farmer's market, and I'm in the food system building it out. And so I see the same parallels with health that you're laying out within the book on just having, again, that litmus test of is it aligned with nature. So like on the health front, we're told to hide from the sun. We live in artificial environments. We are doing all kinds of craziness that is trying to control nature. It's hide from it. It's isolate from it, and we're paying the price. And it's unbelievable to me. More people aren't waking up to it.
And it's crazy because we've gotten so comfortable. We've made this world where we think if anything is uncomfortable, it's wrong. Well, what if it's uncomfortable to be human? What if part of the journey our soul is on is to experience discomfort? And what if when we get so comfortable with our Xanax and our house and our apartment and our Uber Eats and our Instacart and everything like that, then we become depressed because we need to have some discomfort. Like it's our soul's purpose to come here and grow and learn. And so we will make discomfort out of anything, but it's better that we go out and do hard things in the world. It's hard to be depressed when you're doing hard, good work in the world. Like I would argue I'm here in the middle of the recovery from the Texas floods right now, and you see these embodied masculine men for 120 miles of the river. They are out there searching for bodies. It's not comfortable. It's not. It smells like death. It's hard work. Chainsaw blades are breaking. Machinery is breaking. Stuff's getting washed into the river. Then the rains, they get their piles. They're sorting. This one's been sorted. There's nothing in it. This one, we don't know if there's anything in it. And then it rains and they all get mushed together. It's hard. And what if we're not meant to have a life that's just easy? What if our mind will always find suffering because our soul has a purpose to come here and experience some discomfort? But we as humanity have made ourselves so comfortable that we're losing our connection with God, because I think it's in the discomfort we turn to Him.
Absolutely. For me, that life ambush or that discomfort happened when Lander was diagnosed with cancer. Right, like that was bam. That changed everything for me in an instant. And you talk about these mass casualty events. I worked EMS for years, and my hometown was hit by a tornado, and I was on the team that helped find some of the casualties there, and it still affects me years, decade later. And so I think almost 2 decades. Life is hard, and we have been so isolated that some of the difficulties that aren't actually difficulties get magnified, and we are completely disconnected from that realm as well.
For sure. I talk about this in my book about, servers, making a mistake in the restaurant, and then they felt uncomfortable at a table because the customer was mad at them. And I go through this whole thing. Well, this is a learning experience. You got to go back. You got to apologize. You got to fall on the sword. Say, I made a mistake. Let me get you a free dessert. Blah blah blah. And the employee walking out and say, I'm not interested in working for you because you don't have my back. And I told you I was uncomfortable. We've got this world where we think like if you think you're uncomfortable, that somehow means something is wrong, or you think you're not safe, something is wrong. You're never safe. Like literally 300 people were washed out of their houses and RVs into the river in the middle of the night. We are never safe. There is no safety in this world. And this idea that we've created people that think if they're not safe, something is wrong. You're never safe. It's all made up. Like it's a made up thing that the deer out there are not safe. The wild boars are not safe. The dogs are not safe. Nobody is safe. The chickens are not safe. Safety doesn't exist. That's not real. And so we've created this whole society around being comfortable and being safe, but doesn't exist. It's not a real thing. And that doesn't mean we should live in fear all the time. We should live in faith all the time. But we know that that's a made up thing. So when you hear about, oh, at college, I don't have to go to class today because there's a trigger warning because I might learn about something that would upset me. Like, well, how can we learn anything if we're not going to learn about stuff that upsets us? How can we learn? Because upsetting stuff happens. We cannot protect ourselves from that. And so, yeah, essentially my book is, we're all truth seekers. You're out here, did your emergency podcast yesterday about the World Health Organization. I'm trying to bring attention to the pesticide shield that they're pushing through in states, and now they're at the federal level pushing it through. Like all these things, all these attacks on humanity, and then that are real attacks on humanity, and people are so safe and comfortable, they're not even willing to see them. And we actually have to know that we're not safe so that we can actually take the actions to protect our families. That's the reality. And there is a full on attack on our reproduction, on our food system, on our water, on our farmland. And we need to have a mass awakening and stop fighting over the silliness of the silliness. Like, literally, we're fighting over microaggressions and all these things that people are talking about, and whether this, if you think that people shouldn't transition their children, you're transphobic. Like, no, literally, we just don't think kids can make that decision. Like, nobody's phobic of nothing. It's just, it's, and we're fighting about these things when literally our children are not going to be able to have children. People are screaming about their reproductive rights. Yes. What about our right to reproduce? Our right to reproduce is being taken away by chemical companies and by our food system. The average sperm count of a man, if we go at this trajectory right now, by 2040 is zero. I have a 5-year-old that's going to be in his childbearing years. I want him to be able to lay with his wife and make a baby the normal way. So why are we not screaming about those reproductive rights? We are so lulled to sleep with the comfort and the illusion, and we have to know we're not safe so that we can literally stand up and protect our family. And the only reason me or you are here in this world is because our ancestors were excellent at hunting, gathering, fighting, reproducing, surviving. That is literally what thousands, millions of people had to be born and survive for you and I to be here right now today.
Yep, absolutely. So
And none of
let
them were comfortable or safe.
ever, right? Like ever. So I want to paint that picture a little bit more. How I'm able to kind of distill that down is, to me, it's all about control. And it's all centralization versus decentralization, right? It's this local versus a one world, whatever, control entity, whatever. And so when I'm beating the drum on local foods from many different perspectives, right? Beating the drum on health, because health has been centralized. A doctor's not allowed to go outside of their little parameters that are established by an association or the school, right? Like, regardless of what other
Sure.
information comes in, we
They're
live this
not. You
in
can't
through.
even say, you can't even suggest that something could cure cancer unless it's surgery, chemo, or radiation. Like everything else, you're not even allowed to suggest it.
It's mind blowing, and the pushback and censorship around that is evident of this overarching thing that you were talking about. So this is why, you've got an upcoming event. I'm coming to speak at that.
We're so
Why those?
excited to have you here at that event.
It's going to be great.
Food is Medicine is the name of the event.
Food is medicine, and that is, my spiel on the whole food is medicine stuff is as you go into this kind of quantum biology lens, you see that local food is so much more than just a food nutrient, right? There's so many biological processes that are going on, and the food that is grown in Texas is going to be different than the food grown in Arkansas, is going to be different than El Salvador and Australia, New Zealand, right? Like, on and on and on. And that local movement is really this decentralized that we've got to get, and back to the convenience and the lack of suffering. When we manufacture things from all over the world in a factory and then we package it and we fill it with all kinds of non-natural things, that's another aspect of this. But we also are living in these artificial environments that are destroying our health, right? So it's not just food, it's the environment, it's the totality of all of these things that are being stacked against us in a non-natural environment.
Yes. And I talk about this. Water has memory. So, like Veda Austin's work and all these different people are doing, if water has memory and has information stored in it, then the foods that we eat that are 90% water, a lot of them must have information for our cells, which are also 90% water. And so, because we know you can take Veda Austin has done this test where you can take a factory farm egg and put it next to an egg from my farm, and the factory farm egg has no cohesion, and no, and then the egg from my farm has 9 patterns in the volumium, the water inside the egg. And then you put them next to each other overnight in a carton. The egg from my farm informs the factory farm egg, and then it doesn't have all 9 patterns, but it has 6 patterns the next day. And so when you think about that, the water in the food is going to come into the water in your cells, come next to it and inform it and bring cohesion and
Absolutely.
coherence. And so I think about that all the time, that we need to eat of local areas. And just 100 years ago is when the refrigerator became like a widely thing, right? A used thing in the 1920s, 1930s. Before that, everything was local. You had
Everything.
no option. You had an ice box with ice and your milk came from a local farm. And I mean, we worry so much about raw milk nowadays, but think about without refrigeration how the milk program worked. Like they milked it and then delivered it. Like it was hours outside of the ice box. And nobody, I mean, I'm not saying nobody was dying, but like literally people were surviving. Um, so I think that we need to get back to that. And I'm not saying that we need to get to 100%, like you got to grow your own coffee. Like there's no coffee here, right? Probably shouldn't drink coffee, but your own, you can eat a banana every once in a while from somewhere. I'm not going crazy where people have to be like 100% local. But if we could even get to 25% of your produce was from a local environment, I bet that that has a huge impact on your health, because that is giving the specific information, the specific minerals, everything that your body needs for the environment that you're in. And we're at such a high percentage here. We're so blessed because 100% of our protein comes from the ranch. 100% of our eggs come from the ranch. Much of our produce comes from the ranch. And most of our dairy, we do buy some hard cheeses, but our soft cheeses, yogurt, cream, butter, all coming from the ranch. So that's like a huge percentage of our food is coming from this local environment. And I've lost weight. I feel healthier since that is the way our diet is. And it doesn't mean we went out to Thai food last night. It doesn't mean that we're crazy strict and like, I'm not going to ever eat a seed oil in my whole life. I, I'm not like that, but I don't intentionally buy the fried thing at the Thai food restaurant. I try to get something a little bit more less seed oily. But I don't we're not crazy, but we do make our own sourdough pizza, so my kids are not begging for pizza every time I go out of the house, because they get plenty of really good sourdough organic pizza with all fermented and local ingredients on top of it, because that I want my kids to eat local food. I want that to be part of it. And I think that we get into this mindset where, well, I cannot do what Mollie's doing. She's making her bread from scratch and blah, 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 blah. So let me not try it all. Well, Mollie was a restaurateur in Los Angeles feeding her kids pouches filled with mold not that long ago, and I'm not saying, I mean, not that on purpose, but I've seen those studies of all those
Right.
pouches have like
Right.
all types of gnarly stuff in them. But I was feeding like organic Cheerios and organic pouches in the back seat of my car while working. And I didn't get here overnight. It was little by little. You know, you start growing a little garden in your thing, and then this, and then this. But everybody can start this process of being a co-creator and working with nature. And just even if you're just growing a little bit of your own food, or even just fermenting food, like if you buy cabbage from wherever as your standard or from your grocery store and you ferment it into kimchi, then you're bringing in the local yeast and the local information into that um food.
Yeah. No, it doesn't have to be all or nothing, right? It's little steps. It's compounding. It's and then that's where as it snowballs, as you get to feeling better, as you start seeing results, as you start seeing how much better you feel, and your kids are doing, and they don't have psoriasis, they don't have all the ear infections, and on and on and on, right? Like it makes it easier to stick with it.
Yeah, and I feel so blessed. My kids, I have really healthy kids, and I've never vaccinated them, and I've never had any health issues. The one thing that I had is when we had the same nanny for 9 years, and my one daughter, when she left, had a rash for months. But eye makeup, and I'm not, we tried everything. We did dietary changes, we did baths with comfrey, we did aloe and it. But eye makeup, it was emotional. It was, she was irritated. She was upset that the nanny that she had loved and been with for so long was gone. And I feel like it was expressing on her skin. And I'm sure that this highly alkaline water here and the minerals in the water and whatever, there was things, environmental factors, but I think the fact that we couldn't heal it. But other than that, my kids have been crazy healthy, and I'm just so grateful for that.
Absolutely, yeah. There's really nothing worse than your babies being sick. I can definitely attest to that. So I there's so many things I would go back and change, and I think that's why I'm so adamant about being vocal about things. It's not to. That's the other thing. It ties back to what we were really talking about at the beginning of being offended, and you're not allowed to be uh, uncomfortable. I made a lot of mistakes. I own that. And by pointing out, I wish I wouldn't have vaccinated my kids. I wish I wouldn't have gave them formula. I wish I wouldn't have given them rice cereal to thicken up the formula he was puking because his body was reacting to it, right? Like on and on and on, these things. And somehow that gets turned into mom shaming. And so like it's just wild to me, the fights that we end up getting in, and then it's also an insignificant thing that we're bickering over, right? Like when you think about if another pandemic's declared after Sunday, the WHO has control until we're
Yeah, that's
pulled out.
crazy.
That's insane, right? An unelected bureaucrat in Geneva is going to dictate protocols, right? That's nuts to me. Like that's what we should be up in arms about. Not I was offended that he said infant formula is bad, right?
Infant formula is bad. Like, and that's the thing. It's, and I'm not, it doesn't, I'm not saying it doesn't save lives, and I'm not saying that there's opportunities to not do it, but it is not, it, man cannot think we can do better than God. It's just crazy to think that we could. Our body is designed in God's perfection to make the perfect food for our baby. And that perfect food from our baby, our nipple is communicating with the child, and the what the child needs is being created and taken from the mother and given to the child. We are in his image, and we are perfect in that way. And so this idea that we're going to argue whether Nestle's, an arguably not that integrous company, is better at nutrition than God, is a silly conversation. And I'm not mom shaming. I don't do everything perfect. My kids watch too much TV. They get too much sugar. We have a restaurant on the ranch. There's popsicles. They're all, albeit organic, but there's always treats around, and I'm busy and it's hard. And then I'm like, okay, yes, yes, okay, half a brownie, yes, okay. Like my kid, I'm not perfect, and just like I don't think it's shaming when My sister-in-law is like, well, my kids aren't going to hang out with your kids for a few days because we're doing no sugar, no grain. And I'm like, great. It's not shaming. Like, she just knows that I'm not managing for that. So she's going to not have her kids with my kids. It's not shaming. It's just the reality. Is sugar bad for my kids? Yes. Do I still let them have it? Yes. Uh-oh, I lost you. Do you have me? Did
Yeah,
I
it froze
break
up for
up?
a second. It'll clean up in the backside. So let's hit
Okay.
on. I'm with you. Like I get it. It's just like, it goes back to the know better, do better. We can always do better. Like I'm not the perfect parent by any stretch of the imagination.
I was vegan. My first kid I had was vegan the whole time he's in my belly. He's clearly my least healthy kid. He's the chubbiest. All my other kids are like totally have like a six pack and he's chubby. Now, do I think it's because he was vegan in the womb? I don't know. He's also my only hospital birth. He's the only one who got any he got a vitamin K is the only thing he got, but he got a traumatic birth with a vacuum, and they said that he could have brain bleeding and brain bleeding, and they convinced me, and I was tired, and I'd been in labor for 4 days and had this lots of interventions birth, and that child struggles the most with his weight, with his health. And I just want to, and he's still not vaccinated, whatever, but he was vegan. He got soy milk when he was younger, like all these things that I would have wished I did better. Did I get him out vaginally? Yes, to much hardship. Did I breastfeed him for 2 years? Yes, I did do the things that but did I do it all right? No. Do I think that someone's shaming me when they say you shouldn't have given him the vitamin K shot? No, I shouldn't have given him the vitamin K shot. It's facts. Does someone shaming me when they say you should have eaten some animal protein or at least bone broth while you were pregnant? No, I should have eaten bone broth or something, animal protein, even yogurt, whatever, while I was pregnant. I should have. Should have, would have, could have. All I can do is do the best I can right now. But it's not shaming, it's just telling the truth. And when we coddle the formula industry, and I wrote an article, I write for Epoch Times a couple times a week, and I wrote an article about this. Like, if we want to talk about MAHA and make America healthy again, we need to tell women they have to breastfeed. Like, vaginal birth and breastfeeding is the foundation of your gut health, which is the foundation of your health for the rest of your life. And so, if we cannot start with vaginal birth and breastfeeding, and I'm not saying don't do a C-section if it's an emergency and you're going to save the kid's life. I'm saying the first line of defense needs to be that is what we're at a 30 something percent C-section rate in our country. In some hospitals it's as much as 70%. That is going to cause years and years and years of dishealth.
Agreed. Absolutely.
So
Okay. Well, let's get into the event because I think these are the times that are so important because too often we feel isolated sometimes in our own communities because we're the wackadoodle, right? Like not everybody is going to agree with us, and so the ability to come together from across the country, across the world, and have conversations and share ideas and bring things together are so important. So go into a little bit of your goals and hopes for the Food is Medicine event at your ranch.
the goals and hopes for the Food is Medicine event at the ranch is really that I want to have a gathering of people that want to shift the food system. And because you could listen to Logan on his podcast, you could listen to me on Instagram, you could find us all on lots of different places. But I want us to gather. It's not just about hearing us talk. It's not just about Logan's amazing story of healing his son's cancer. It's about coming together and learning how do we shift the food system, and we are the leaders in. If you're interested in going to this event, you're a leader in the food system. And so not only are we going to do butchering workshops and sourdough making and kimchi making and all that and having talks, but we're also going to have meetings about how to get involved at the local level, how to get involved at your church level, how to get involved and shift the perspectives around food. Like, I'm working on a Bible study right now that I'm going to give out that's all about regenerative agriculture and the Bible and how, and then ask people to bring those back to, we're going to have a meeting about it there at Food is Medicine, and we're going to give it out, and people can bring this 6-week Bible study back to their church and say, hey, who's interested in doing a Bible study about regenerative agriculture? Mollie has combed through the Bible and found all of these things that are relating to regenerative agriculture. This is different ways. And then we're going to have, people like Glyphosate Girl, Kelly Ryerson, and also Grace. What's that? The young girl Grace that realized her food at her high school was killing was making everybody sick, and she's changed the legislation. So we're gonna have meetings about legislation and how you can get involved in shifting the legislation around food. So we really want to bring together leaders. We want to network. We want to see what can emerge out of this group of people that are highly committed to remembering that food doesn't come, health does not come from the hospital. It does not come from a bottle. It does not come from an IV, but it comes from the everyday practice and what we put in our mouth. And that is who you are and we are. And we would love to gather with you on Sovereignty Ranch. We have a regenerative farm, regenerative restaurant. There's going to be glamping tents. There's going to be Will Harris is going to be there as the keynote speaker. Everybody that comes gets a free copy of my book, Debunked by Nature. We're going to have a little party on Saturday night for the book release of my party. Acres is going to be there, the farming publisher who's my publisher. They're going to have a bookstore. They're going to be promoting regenerative agriculture practices and doing stuff. So there's going to be so many different things going on, but we need to gather and we need to have a groundswell, because in order for us to have a mass awakening event, like this is a mass casualty event in Texas, we need a mass awakening event. Each of you that is the wackadoodle, as he said, it is your community, needs to have the tools to not be the wackadoodle, but to be the leader in your community, to lead people to a healthier life, because that is what's being asked of us right now.
Yeah. I, two of my dearest friends, John and Betty, were at the ranch not too long ago as they were going through, and they just sung your praises. They loved what you're doing, and another benefit to me is that you can experience what can be done. Right, these are possibilities that can be done at other places across the country, across the world, as this decentralized hubs, building out the food systems, because you're not going to feed everybody. Will and White Oak is not going to feed everybody in the country, right? Like, we need these hubs. And Will's told me point blank, he doesn't want to feed the world. He doesn't want to feed the country. He wants to feed his community. And they've also have to run a profitable business. So I think that experience and possibilities and synergy and networking has, untold benefits.
Yeah, the current paradigm is get bigger, 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 bigger is better. And I'm saying, what if smaller is more beautiful and you can be a niche in your market, in your
Yes.
area, and you can feed your community and some people outside your community. And then you inspire, you be the ripple effect to have, if Will can be the ripple effect for Mollie, and Mollie can be the ripple effect for the next person. And it's the people that are coming here, it's Will Harris. Someone said to me on Instagram, I didn't have Will Harris and Misha Tate on at the same event talking on my 2025 bingo card. Of course not, because like an MMA fighter and a old gentleman farmer from the South, this is two totally different worlds, right? But no, they're two totally different worlds saying we can heal the way we eat. And he's saying it about soil and she's saying it about recovery. Like, she realized that what she eats impacts how fast she recovers after her fight. So there's all these different viewpoints coming together, and but also with a common thread. And we really want to invite you, and there's a discount if you do Logan 10, you can get a discount on your tickets, and we would really love you to join us and be there. And there's day tickets if you don't want to stay the whole event, but if you stay the whole event, you do get the free book, and you're going to get different specials from the restaurant every day. So we'll have a set menu, but we're going to focus on different aspects of health, and maybe do a fermented food special, and do a, grass finished beef from the ranch special. And we're going to have specials every day, highlighting different super nutrient dense foods from our area here in Texas.
I love it. One thing that popped up is that egg example that you said, right? It's that frequency transfer. It happens with us too, with people.
For sure. And just being in nature, sleeping in a tent, and these are not like, these are bell tents with a queen bed and bedding, and you don't have to bring anything, everything is there for you. But even just being out in nature for a few days, walking to the bathroom, walking to your tent at night, looking up at the stars, it's going to ground you in something, and the ripple effect of it will go through your life. It will, it has to. And that is always what people say when they come to be on the ranch.
Well, I can't wait. I'm super excited, especially
Are you
just to.
bringing the family?
I'm bringing as many as I can. Yeah, that probably the oldest two kids. Probably won't bring the babies, the 5 and 4 year old. That's probably going to be too much. But yeah, my mom is my business partner at the me and McGee Market, and she actually makes everything run. It wouldn't be here without her. So she's wanting to come. She's get ideas. It's just it's so neat to see the excitement of something that's new and it's meaningful. It's the mission. You're accomplishing something. It's just really cool to even just see her light up at the possibilities of heading down to Sovereignty Ranch.
Well, we're so excited that you guys are coming, and we're really honored to be able to have this event. And I do believe that foundationally, if we can heal our food system, the ripple effect will be many other things. Like, do I want to tear it all down and go back to the Constitution? Yes. But where I'm at and what I can do is put, my hands in the soil and grow food and feed people, because I don't have the skill set to tear it all down from that way. But I hope that the ripple effect is, once we see, oh, the way that they're feeding us is harming us, that humanity will see other things that are harming us and make those connections. I mean, I right now it's flooding in New Mexico, Texas, North Carolina, New Jersey, and New York. And California's on fire, a bunch of other places on fire. And there was a bunch of earthquakes last night. All of these things seem mighty suspicious to me. And I don't think it's because we're driving SUVs and we're putting too much carbon in the atmosphere. Um, I just don't. I don't think
Yeah,
that that's what's going on. But whatever's happening energetically, it's getting more intense on this planet. And being able to feed yourself and being able to support your community in times of need, and being more, I don't believe in self reliance, being more interconnected and community reliant is going to become more and more important. And so we need to build these communities across states and across the country so that we can support each other and we can be there for each other when there is a catastrophe in these different communities. And so I think it's so important for us to come together, to gather, to learn, and to be in communion with each other.
agreed again. Yeah, no, I'm so excited. We have lost the ability to even feed ourselves. I don't think
It's
people understand the situation that we're in.
it's a national security issue, and I say it every day, and people look at me like, it's a cute thing to say. I get that, national security. No, literally, we are a net importer of food. We depend on food coming from far off nations. Our pork industry is completely destroyed. We don't have enough beef cows in our country right now to feed us. American something screwworm is getting closer and closer to our border, that could have huge impacts on, and then they're not going to be able to stop for any length of time beef coming across the border that could have the screwworms, because we don't have enough beef in this country to feed us. Why? We have plenty of land. Why? Let's raise more beef.
Do you know Texas Slim?
I do not.
He's got the beef initiative, and he's been beating this drum. And I need to connect y'all. It, it, it is terrifying and mind blowing, right? Like, and the system is so unbelievably broken. I'm afraid that until it just completely collapses, most people aren't even going to wake up to it. And that's really where it's in between. Hey, we need to fight. We need to dig in our heels. We need to do this work, and just almost like, is it too late?
Is it too late? Do you know AJ Richards? So he's coming to Food is Medicine, but you should have him on the podcast. So he got back from Afghanistan, and then COVID happened, and he saw how through the war, 10 years of war, that Afghanistan went from a country that could totally feed itself to completely not being able to feed itself. And he saw what was happening during COVID, and he realized that we were in the same predicament. And so he started From the Farm with Brooke Hentz, I think is her last name, the bodybuilder. And they are trying to connect farmers. They have a business, it's a platform like Uber Eats, but farmers that are not able to do the social media and all the stuff that me and you do, they're not able to set up their website and set up their store and set up this. So he's trying to bring together like the average rancher to be able to do direct to consumer, because they're going to be the middleman, and but not the middleman, like they're going to charge the customer for their service, and the farmer will be able to sell their meat, but they'll set up their store for them, they'll do promotions, they'll do all this stuff, and it's called From the Farm. And he had the realization like, oh my goodness, if we don't rescue our food system, he saw what happened in Afghanistan and how it had this beautiful agricultural system and all of these terraces and all this amazing food, and just got desertified in a short period of time, and they're unable to feed themselves now.
Yeah. No, I definitely, I'll connect with him if you can share that contact.
I will.
You know, I'm from Atkins, Arkansas, and so this is like Pickle City, USA. This is what most people know this tiny little town from. It's Atkins pickle plant, and they sold out. I believe it was like Dean Foods, and it moved the factory to Mexico, and it absolutely just decimated our little town, right? Because it was the only industry, right? Like because most small communities, the school is the number one economic center, right? Like the public school
Right.
system. And so when this left, because that was more of a centralized food system that it became, there was no resiliency in that, right? There was no overlay. It was one thing like that. That's what I'm talking about when I'm saying centralized versus decentralized. It's like it's all people were growing cucumbers for the pickle plant, so the farmer left holding the bag. The employees that were in working the factory, it's all gone. And so, like I saw that firsthand. It was a big deal, and so like that was on a very small scale too, Molly. So what we're up against is on a massive scale.
Yeah, it is a massive scale. And I think that it is a terrible, terrible thing that we're up against, because, and that's just one little town, but Will Harris will tell you the same thing about his little town and all these little towns along the way that just have one industry. We have to diversify. We can't, and every farm wants to look at that too. Like if you're only growing peanuts and then the peanut butter factory or whatever moves away, I don't know that, then that's a problem. And that's why the model that I have, and I'm definitely still struggling here, we have not figured it all out, but we have hospitality, we have the little restaurant on the ranch, we have some greenhouses growing vegetables, and then we have the beef and the pork program going, and with the holistic planned grazing. That way, I'm okay, well, hopefully, if we can't sell any meat, there's some Airbnb guests. If we can't sell any Airbnb guests, because like right now, there's no Airbnb guests because nobody's coming to a flood zone for vacation. Like that's not fun. Um, and so, hopefully we can feed people in the restaurant right now, and so we try to have these different stacked things happening at the farm so that it's not just one centralized commodity that we're selling. And it does take more work. It does take more thought. It does take more energy to do multiple different things.
Guaranteed.
And it does take more money to get the infrastructure set up for
Yep.
sure.
And we gotta have the buy-in from consumers from the community too, right? Like, so there's so many moving pieces to the
Every
entire puzzle.
single customer, I say that to. Every customer that comes in, I say, thank you for supporting this big crazy project I'm doing in the middle of nowhere. It only works if you support it. I say that
Amen.
to every guest.
Amen. Well, it's the truth,
What?
right? I guess the truth. It's the truth.
Yes.
All right, Molly. I know you got a lot of stuff to do, getting meals out to the emergency crews, and just hearts, prayers with y'all in the community. Just absolutely devastating. So thank you for what
We're
you
so
do.
grateful to be able to serve. We're so grateful to be able to serve. Honestly, I'm set up in such a way that we do have the hospitality. So I got 22 people staying on the ranch, volunteers, first responders, nurses. And then we have the kitchen and we're able to serve. So we're just so grateful. We're grateful to the nonprofits and we're grateful to the individuals that have been helping us financially be able to serve. Um, we just want to invite everybody, if you're ever in Texas, come to Sovereignty Ranch, check out what we're doing. You can pre-order my book in the first week of August, Debunked by Nature. It'll be out last weekend of September. And that is the weekend of Food is Medicine. So please come out to that and you can use Logan 10 and get a discount. And you can also get my book for free if you do that. You
Perfect.
don't have to
Perfect.
pre-order.
Thank you, Molly. Thank you so much. We'll talk soon.
Thank you. Okay, thank you. Bye-bye.